Good evening and welcome back to the Dinar Daily, your trusted source for the latest updates, insights, and analysis on the global currency scene. Tonight, we're tackling a question that's lighting up chat groups, Telegram channels, and online forums everywhere. Is the wait finally over? Could tomorrow actually mark the activation of the long-awaited Dinar and Dong revaluation? The excitement is at an all-time high, and the buzz online is impossible to ignore. So, in this special report, we'll break down what's driving these rumors, what's real, what's speculation, and what it could mean for you if you're holding either of these currencies. Stay tuned. This might just be one of the most talked about nights of the year for the Dinar and Dong community. When people mention an RV activation, they're referring to a currency revaluation, a major event where a country's currency is officially adjusted upward in value against major world currencies like the US dollar. In simple terms, it's when a weak currency suddenly becomes stronger. Holders of the Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong have long dreamed of this moment, hoping that one day their investments could multiply overnight. For the Dinar, that dream centers on Iraq restoring its pre-war currency strength. For the Dong, it's about Vietnam's booming economy eventually demanding a higher global exchange rate. But before we let excitement take over, it's important to remember that real currency revaluations are extremely rare and require deep economic preparation, international coordination, and official approval. So why all the sudden buzz about tomorrow? According to growing chatter online, there are claims that certain signals out of Iraq and Vietnam point to something big being in motion. Some reports mention unusual activity in Baghdad's currency markets, with fluctuations in the dollar-to-dinar exchange rate. Others mention internal banking updates supposedly linked to new systems preparing for higher value transactions. And in Vietnam, online discussions have hinted at potential monetary adjustments following new trade and banking measures. Are these legitimate clues? Maybe. Or maybe they're just market noise amplified by social media excitement. Either way, the community is watching every move closely. To understand whether these rumors could be true, let's look at Iraq's recent economic picture. The country has been pushing hard for reform, increasing oil exports, stabilizing inflation, paying down debt, and strengthening its banking infrastructure. These are all positive indicators that could, in theory, support a stronger currency in the long term. However, experts caution that Iraq still faces big hurdles: political instability, corruption challenges, and limited diversification beyond oil. A massive overnight RV, while exciting to imagine, would require a level of economic readiness that few analysts believe is there just yet. Meanwhile, Vietnam's economy is telling a different story. It's one of the fastest growing in Southeast Asia, with manufacturing, exports, and foreign investment all on the rise. The Vietnamese Dong is tightly controlled by the State Bank of Vietnam, and while gradual appreciation is possible, sudden revaluations are rare in tightly managed systems. Many economists predict that any major changes to the Dong's value would come slowly and strategically, not overnight. So again, while the fundamentals are improving, there's little concrete evidence to suggest a dramatic one-day RV. Still, the excitement among currency holders is real. Some reports claim that certain exchange dealers have paused sales of Dinar and Dong, fueling speculation that a new rate might be incoming. Others say select banks have scheduled software updates or after-hours maintenance, which rumor mills quickly interpret as a sign of RV preparation. Some even believe international trade adjustments between Iraq and its partners could hint at a shift in currency value. But without official confirmation from central banks or global financial authorities, these remain just rumors. Intriguing, but unverified. It's also worth remembering that many past RV dates have come and gone with no actual event taking place. Over the years, hopeful holders have watched dozens of predicted dates pass quietly, each time being told the next one would be the day. This doesn't mean it could never happen, but it's a reminder to stay grounded and realistic. Financial history shows that genuine currency reforms are announced publicly, not leaked through forums or social media. Now let's talk about the risk side of this story. Currency speculation, especially in exotic currencies like the Dinar or Dong, has been linked to numerous scams in the past. Regulators in the US and elsewhere have issued warnings for years about companies or individuals promising guaranteed profits from a coming revaluation. In some cases, investors were sold layaway contracts or certificates with false promises that the RV would happen tomorrow. None of those predictions came true. The bottom line: if someone guarantees you a specific return or rate, that's a huge red flag. So, what would a real revaluation look like? First, it would be announced directly by the country's central bank or finance ministry. Second, there would be clear international coordination, with updates on systems like SWIFT, Forex markets, and global banking portals. Third, there would be visible changes in currency trading platforms and rates across major financial institutions. And finally, it would be covered by reputable financial news outlets, not just circulated through chat groups or rumor chains. Without these elements, any RV talk remains pure speculation. Still, it's understandable why people are hopeful. Iraq's efforts to rebuild and modernize are genuine. The Central Bank of Iraq has been pushing to integrate internationally, stabilize the dinar, and attract foreign investment. Similarly, Vietnam's steady rise as a manufacturing hub gives the Dong long-term potential. These economic trends are real, even if an overnight revaluation is not. If either currency eventually gains value, it's likely to happen gradually, through appreciation, redenomination, or phased policy reform. If you hold dinar or dong, there are a few smart steps to take as you watch this story unfold. First, verify where and how you could actually exchange your currency if a rate change were to occur. Many banks don't handle exotic currencies, and exchange offices may impose limits or high fees. Second, keep documentation of your purchases and receipts. If you ever realize gains, they could be taxable depending on your country's laws. Third, avoid emotional decisions based on online hype. It's easy to get swept up, but make sure your choices are grounded in verified information, not rumors. Another important point: even if a change were announced tomorrow, it wouldn't necessarily mean instant profit. Revaluations, when they do happen, often roll out gradually or affect only institutional exchange rates at first. Holders may not see the new value immediately at retail levels. There's also a big difference between redenomination, changing the face value of notes, and revaluation, which changes purchasing power. Confusing the two can lead to false expectations. And let's be clear, the dream of the dinar going from a fraction of a cent to $1 overnight is highly unlikely. Economically, such a massive leap would require reserves, stability, and global trust on a level Iraq simply hasn't reached yet. Similarly, for the Dong, while Vietnam's growth story is strong, it's still managed tightly to maintain export competitiveness. So while appreciation could happen, the scale and speed of an RV are often exaggerated online. That said, holding these currencies isn't necessarily wrong, it just needs the right mindset. Think of it as a long-term speculative play, not a guaranteed windfall. Even modest gains over time could be meaningful for those who hold large amounts. But banking on an overnight transformation can lead to disappointment. Stay informed, stay patient, and remember that true wealth building usually happens through strategy and timing, not sudden miracles. Why do these rumors persist year after year? Because hope is powerful. The story of a revaluation taps into the dream of redemption and opportunity, the idea that one decision could change everything. It creates tight-knit communities that share information, stories, and encouragement. But the markets don't move on emotion, they move on fundamentals: economic strength, investor confidence, and fiscal policy. That's why keeping perspective is so important. So what should you do tomorrow? Monitor the official sources, the Central Bank of Iraq, the State Bank of Vietnam, and reputable financial outlets like Reuters or Bloomberg. If anything real happens, it will show up there first. Watch for official rate postings, system updates, or government releases. If none of that appears, it's safe to assume the rumors were just that, rumors. Don't rush to buy or sell based on speculation, and if tomorrow passes quietly, don't let that discourage you. These markets move slowly, and progress often happens behind the scenes long before it reaches the headlines. Use the time to review your goals, your strategy, and your risk tolerance. Ask yourself, why did you invest in this currency? What's your plan if nothing changes for months or years? Staying grounded and informed is your best defense against hype and misinformation. It's also possible that smaller, incremental changes may unfold over time, like adjustments to the peg, slight appreciation, or gradual banking reforms that strengthen each currency's global position. Those shifts might not make instant millionaires, but they could still create real long-term value for economies and investors alike. At the end of the day, tomorrow might